Hey, Kevin here. Today I want to do a real quick review of my Great States 16-inch manual reel mower. Alright, so here it is. Here's the mower. I brought it inside. It was a little too windy outside to hear what I was saying. Hopefully my wife don't kill me for bringing it inside. The good thing is that it don't have gas and oil and all that in there, so it doesn't really smell like anything. So anyway, I was price shopping online and I found that Walmart.com and Amazon.com had the same price. And I believe I got it for $83 something, $84, somewhere around there. And I thought that was a really good price. Really easy to assemble when I got it out of the box. It was basically a box just a little bit bigger than this assembly right here, which was all put together already. All I had to do was put on the handles. Just had a couple of little tiny C-clips right here on both sides. And then the black handles was in 4 parts. You can see there's 2 here, there's 2 more up here. No tools required whatsoever. It just has these little wing nuts, which are plastic, but they've held strong so far. And just bolted it together, and this thing was ready to go. From the box, it was cutting great. One change I did make was I went ahead and I lowered it 1 notch just to drop it down a little bit. And that is done with these little adjusters right here. And there's actually 2 separate black pieces right here that have a bunch of holes drilled in them, I think every 1/2 inch. So I dropped it down 1 notch, which actually I think it raised it up a notch, but it lowered the whole mower by 1/2 inch. I just wanted just a little bit lower. Again, no tools required. It was just the little wing nuts there. Very, very simple. And it's pretty cool. It just kind of cuts like a pair of scissors. These spin against a cutting blade down here. And, you know, just trims it right off. No big deal at all. This thing is a lot quieter than a push mower. That was one of my big things about our old mower. It's just so loud, and it never did quite run right. My old mower, it had a lot of issues, and I hated breathing in the fumes, and like I said, the noise was annoying, and it seemed like it never ran at the right RPM. You'd you know, pull on the cord, and then it had little, I guess it's the flywheel or whatever you call it. It'd have little I don't know what you call them, little fingers that would flip out to catch a gear to spin the mower. Well, one of them had snapped, so it just barely catched. So I had a problem there. Spark plug was giving me issues. The oil was giving me issues. I was constantly cleaning out the filter, and it just never quite ran at the right RPM. So it was kind of slow, so it would bog down real easy. And I was just getting tired of messing with it, so I got this new mower instead. I've been thinking about a reel mower, and I thought I'd give it a shot. I've been really happy with it, so that's why I'm making this video. All right, a couple things that I'm not super crazy about. It's not too big a deal, but I really thought it had aluminum wheels. I was just imagining it was built, you know, all steel and all that, but it's not. These are plastic, but really any mower you get these days is probably gonna have plastic wheels. Also, the little, I guess you call it hubcap or center cap right here, pops out. You can take the wheel off, and you can actually buy a sharpening kit, which is basically a little crank that you spin everything backwards. You know, instead of going forward, it'll spin backwards. And you put a little bit of compound on the edge of these blades here, and they'll rub against the cutting blade down here and sharpen themselves. But I haven't had to do that yet because this thing has been nice and sharp from the factory. It's cutting great. Okay, and I did say that I lowered it a little bit. I just thought it should be just a little shorter than factory, but it was cutting fine. I've seen some reviews where people are saying that our cutting blade to the reel blades was skewed, so, you know, shifted off a little bit, so when they cut, it wasn't an even cut, but mine's been perfectly fine. And the other thing I wasn't crazy about was the original handles. It just had these little black foam rubber grips on there, really skinny, just barely thicker than this, you know, the handlebar tubing, and they would slide off and spin. So what I did was I went on eBay and I found these bicycle handlebar. It's like foam grips. Taped them on there. I still haven't done it, but I'm gonna pop some corks on the end just so that when I lean it against a wall or something, it won't tear them up. But this has, you know, helped a bunch. It's made it a lot more comfortable to grip. It's not so small. It doesn't slip on me. And that's worked out great. Also, like I said, this thing is a lot quieter than the power mower. You can actually talk when you're cutting the grass and someone could actually understand you. Also, it doesn't, you know, throw rocks and grass everywhere. It just kind of throws it out back, just, you know, kind of lobs it back. It might hit your shoe, but that's about as far as it would go. It's not shooting stuff everywhere, so you could have pets or kids outside where you're cutting. And then, like I said, it was quieter, so if you're inside with windows and doors shut, you probably can't even hear this thing run at all. If you're across the street, you can barely hear it. Like around here, we got a ton of neighbors, and anytime any of them cut grass, even if they're quarter to half mile away down the street, you can still hear the thing running. This you can barely hear across the street, so it's a lot quieter. Okay, now it is 16 inches, which is the measurement of the reel. So, you know, it's not counting from the reel over to the tires here, so you kind of have to keep track when you're cutting grass. You know, with a regular mower, usually you kind of follow the lines of the tires, but this one you have to offset, and actually you just have to look at, you know, the height of the grass and then kind of line it up to this. So I'm still kind of getting used to that, and that's something you'll have to think about. But other than that, it's been great. Cut's really nice, really good looking cut. The one thing that it doesn't do, and everyone's right in the reviews, is it doesn't cut really tall grass. So if you're the type that just cuts grass when you absolutely have to, this is probably not the way to go. And our grass is just a mix of all kinds of things. I don't think there's one type of grass out there. And every once in a while we'll get those really tall stalks, which I think are really weeds or even dandelions that stick up, and it'll just lay them over. It doesn't quite catch them. So you have to pull them, or you can hit them with the trimmer. I've hit them with the trimmer, but they keep coming back. So this week when I was going through, anytime I saw one, I would just pull it up, and hopefully it shouldn't come back anymore. But it cuts great otherwise. So now let me take it outside, and I'll just show you how simple it cuts, and then how I maintain it as well. All right, I was just about finishing cutting grass, but I have a little bit of patch right there left over, and I'll just show you how easy it cuts. It cuts real nice, and it's really not too loud at all. So let me show you real quick. Alright, so there we go. Like I just showed you, it cuts really nice. It's pretty quiet, especially compared to a regular gas mower, and it's just as easy to push. So this thing, you just get it out, cut whenever you want. You don't have to think about, you know, getting a little patch like this and running out of gas and have to go into town to get more, burning through fuel. You don't have to smell the fumes, have like, you know, green grass gunk all over your legs and all that. It's just a lot cleaner running, and you know, just easier to use. Now, one thing I want to mention is I told you that the reel to wheel distance here is about 3.5 to 4 inches. So whenever you're cutting next to a sidewalk or something like that, it will leave a little grass there that you have to hit with the trimmer. No big deal if you're going to trim anyway. I mean, you know, that's no problem at all. Okay, one other thing this mower does is every once in a while, if there happens to be a stick in the yard that's decent size or a piece of bark, it may get caught in the reel and then the thing won't spin. I'll show you what it does when it gets stuck and then how easy it is to take care of it. Alright, so I got a little stick in there. You probably can't see it, but it won't roll now at all. So all I do is when I'm standing there, just roll it backwards a little bit. You can find the stick and just throw it out of the way or throw it in a, you know, pile or whatever. And now the thing moves again. Really, really simple to take care of. Alright, so when I'm done running the mower, I just like to maintain it a little bit. I haven't hooked up the hose this year, but you could just spray it off, but what I've been doing is just using this old paintbrush. I just clean off all the grass that collects in there, and you might want to spin the blade a little bit just to make sure you get it all out. And once it's all clean, then what I do is I oil up the blades, because I keep this stored in our basement, which is kind of damp, and I don't want the edge of the cutting blades here to get rusty. So all I do is get an old rag, a little bit of WD-40, and then I just go over each blade, and there's 5 of them on here, 5 reel blades, and just oil them up, and that's it. And we can just store this thing away, and I don't have to worry about these, you know, getting a little bit of surface rust or, you know, starting to screw up over time. I know not everyone does this every time they cut. Some do every other time, maybe once a month, you know, 2 or 3 times a grass cutting season, whatever. I just decided to do it after each time, and it's simple enough to do. And then last thing I do is I just keep my brush with the mower so I don't lose it. And all I do, it just has a handy dandy little hole up there, and I just keep it like that, put it in the basement, and we're done. It doesn't smell. My old mower, when I keep in the basement, the house would start to smell like gas after a couple days, you know. But this has been really clean, so I've been really happy with this mower. And if you're interested in one, hopefully this review will give you a little more insight.